Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Polaris Ranger have partnered to find the most driven team in Texas that most embodies the hard-working values of Ranger. As of now, we have picked 5 high schools. We've picked Thurgood Marshall High School in Missouri City, Ronald Reagan High School in San Antonio, O'Connor High School in Helotes, Longview High School, and Aledo High School. And these teams will compete for the title of Polaris's most driven team. Now you can go to texasfootball.com/most driven team in order to vote for who you think the most driven team is. The winner will be announced at the UIL Football State Championship game on December 21st at AT&T Stadium and be presented with our grand prize, an all-new 2020 Ranger XP1000 Texas Edition vehicle for their program. Again, please go vote at texasfootball.com/most driven team. We now welcome on the face of the Polaris Most Driven Team campaign, Cole Beasley. Cole, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing fantastic. And to start things off, why do you think it was a good decision for you to kind of team up with the Most Driven Team campaign?
Oh, well, they're based in Texas, and it's Texas high school football. I've lived it. I grew up in that. My dad was the coach for 30 years, so I grew up going to Texas high school football games my whole life. I was playing football at the Texas high school football games. I've seen it as a kid, as a fan, and then I played it. There's really no greater experience. Nobody has more fun playing football than in high school in Texas. I mean, I've played in college, I played in the NFL, but the most fun I ever had was playing with my buddies that I grew up with every Friday night, and then going to the only fast food place we had in Little Elm at the time, which was the Sonic Drive-In, to hang out after. It was great.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned, going to Little Elm High School. You were in Dave Campbell's Texas Football 3 different times. I mean, what do you remember about that experience?
Yeah, I told somebody about that earlier. I thought, I used to think it was so cool that I made it in there. It's just cool to kind of be recognized, and especially as a high school kid, and see your photo in a magazine, and being talked about. It makes you, kind of gives you a little glimpse of like maybe playing in college or whatever. So at the time, it's like the coolest thing ever. Um, and I was in a small town of Little Elm where, nobody's really hearing about anybody from there. So there weren't a lot of players coming out of there going to college and playing football. So it was kind of a rare thing for us at the time. So I thought it was awesome. I was really humbled by that experience.
Well, you're one of the rare people who have played football at all 3 levels in the state of Texas. Obviously, playing at Little Elm in high school, playing at SMU in college, and playing for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, what is it about football in Texas that's so special?
Um, I just I don't know anything different, man. Like, I grew up in it, and that's all I ever wanted to do from the moment I can really, as long as I can remember. As long as I can remember, my dad asked me what I wanted to do when I grow up. I wanted to play in the NFL. And, that's kind of the foundation set by being in Texas and playing football there. It's kind of what we did. It's what my family did. My uncle was a head coach at Humble High School for a while. Um, my dad had coached in Little Elm. He coached in Kingwood before. So that was just kind of our background. So I didn't really know any different. You might could ask somebody else, and they'd tell you something else because they had a different experience. But I was born into it, man. So, um, but really playing under those lights on Friday night was awesome. I mean, like I said, it was the most fun I ever had. But um, back then there was no like, oh, if you don't do this, you're gonna get cut, or whatever, man. You're just going out there and you're showing just showing everybody what you do on Friday, and it was fun, man.
Yeah. Well, you look at SMU right now and in the NFL right now, you've got guys like yourself, Emmanuel Sanders, Cortland Sutton, Trey Quinn, and now you've got James Prochet and Reggie Robertson. I mean, what is it about SMU right now that's been able to put out such good receivers consistently?
Um, I'm not sure that the trick that they know over there, um, why that's happening, but maybe it's the foundation that those guys set that came before us. Emmanuel was there and was a great player when I got there, and I kind of got to follow his lead a little bit. And maybe just guys see guys having success from there, so they seize the opportunity. They throw the ball over there a lot, so that's another thing that attracts guys. And maybe it's guys that are kind of overlooked at times, but they have the talent. And it's hard to find all those football players in Texas, man. There's so many of them. So um, I don't know how anybody scouts in Texas. And there's a lot of guys that could easily slip under the radar, and I feel like SMU is one of those places that finds those guys, and they really have success in the NFL.
Well, when you were at SMU, obviously under June Jones, you guys kind of started that push to move the program back to competition, back to relevancy. What has Sonny Dykes been able to do you think, to kind of take the program to the next level so far?
Well, I know we never. I mean, I was there and we pushed it forward a little bit, but there was never a time where we were ranked or anything like that. And we never started out. I don't know if they started 6-0 or 7-0, but we never started out that hot. And um, to be able to win that many games in a row and have that consistency is pretty remarkable, and says a lot about the guys they have in there. They've had every victory you could imagine. They've had some where they won by a lot, won by little, and they have some where they had to fight back and really make a comeback to win. They almost did it again this week. Came up a little short, but he's done a great job. And he's got those guys fighting to the very end, and that's what you love to see.
Yeah, how have you kind of been able to support the program since you left school?
It's really been hard because nobody that's there now was there when I was there, really. So I mean, there's been coaches coming in and out. It's almost like most coaches come in there to get a job for a little bit and then they leave. Nobody really sticks around, so it's hard to kind of like go back like that, because you feel like you don't know anybody. You feel like you're just going to a college almost. You know what I mean? So it's been tough, but I've been to a few games. Haven't been to many, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, please go and vote at textfootball.com/most driven team. Cole Beasley, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.